Welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Jane Wamushi, and I talk and discuss about emotional and spiritual health. So today I want to give you 3 processes on how to get unstuck. I meet a lot of people that say they are stuck. They don't know how to get unstuck. They don't know how they even got stuck. And now they feel like they are not moving forward. They are at a standstill. And I think this is actually why I do the coaching I do, is to help people get unstuck. Is to get people back on course again, where they are able to be healthy again, think properly, and move forward. I think it's one of the worst feelings is to feel like you're stuck, to feel trapped, to feel like you are in the same place for years, like you're in a wilderness. I think that is one of the most uncomfortable places to be. And so before I even start talking about how you get unstuck, let's talk about how you got stuck in the first place. How did you get stuck? How do we get stuck? There are various ways, but I'm going to talk about a few of them. And the first one is trauma. And trauma doesn't have to be a big thing that happened to you. It's just something that happened to you in the process of your journey, where you were bruised, where you were caused to think less about yourself because of words that were said. So trauma can be different forms, can be different sizes, can be different depth, but all trauma is valid, because if you don't deal with it, it just grows. So trauma is one of the reasons that we end up feeling a certain way, having certain emotions, thinking about ourselves in a certain way, because there was trauma that happened. And then right to trauma, also we start thinking negatively about ourselves. And these negative thoughts are repetitive. Like I've said before, in a single day, we think about 70,000 thoughts. So you can imagine, if your thoughts are not healthy and you're thinking the same things, the same negative thoughts about yourself, about the world, about others, about your situation, you are stuck already, because you are stuck in those thoughts. And those thoughts don't help you to move forward. They actually keep you in the past, and you don't move forward. So negative thinking. And then we also have to remember that as we are going through life, we are going to also have experiences, relationship experiences that cause us to get hurt, and then we end up with emotional pain. Emotional pain right there. There will be sometimes unforgiveness. There will be things, we just get stuck with certain incidences that happened. Some could be big, very big in life, loss of people. Somebody even experiencing a traumatic event like shooting, like something major. Or just going through relationship breakups, loss. And then you end up with emotional pain. And emotional pain will keep you stuck. So those are a few of the ways we get stuck. I haven't exhausted all of them. I've just mentioned about 3. So having talked about that, let's see how we get unstuck. When we are unstuck, either because of emotional pain, either because of negative thinking or trauma, how do we get unstuck? So the first thing I do, and I even coach in my program, the program that I coach is based on a framework called IRP. And I stands for identify. So the first thing is identify. I'll help you identify or counselor will help you identify, or you can even identify it yourself if you can. Identify these thoughts, identify the trauma, identify the unforgiveness, identify what has caused you the pain. And that is something you have to be honest. If you have an emotion going through you, don't ignore it. Just find out where it's coming from. Identify things that caused you to not forgive somebody. Are you waiting for them to say they are sorry? Are you waiting for them to explain what is the wrong? What are the expectations you are having that actually have kept you stuck? Identify such things. Identify the lies that you are believing about situations, about yourself, that you are not good enough, that people don't love you, that you are not lovable. The thoughts that somebody said about you and you felt are not validated, and now you are always thinking about them and you haven't moved forward. Identify those. And the second process, after identification of all these things that made you get stuck, is reframing. Are you willing to reframe, to think differently? Now you in step one, or in process one, you identified the lies. Are you willing to apply the truth in this process or in this step? If you think low about yourself, if you have low self-esteem issues, are you willing to dig in the truth? Or the truth you already have, because you have the truth. So once you go through the lies, once you go through the emotions, once you go through the thoughts attached to these emotions, then the second thing is to work through by applying the truth, reframing what you think, forgiving if you need to forgive. And I tell you, even forgiving, you have to think differently. It all goes with thoughts. I recently had a client that was stuck in unforgiveness, and as we were talking through, we realized that she was waiting for the other person to say they are sorry, to acknowledge that they were sorry. And I helped her identify that's why she's stuck, because she's waiting for that other person to say they are sorry. What about if they never do? Then you are stuck. You are their victim. They have held you hostage. Things like that. That's why you identify those patterns, and then be willing to disconnect. Be willing to disconnect with the wrong thinking. Be willing to disconnect with the past hurts and forgiveness. Something small as thinking differently about something will unstuck you. So, and the last thing is practice. So once you have identified, once you are willing to reframe and you know the truth, then you start speaking the truth over the situation. You start taking the necessary steps, like forgiving, like going for counseling, like receiving healing of emotional pain, whatever it is. Then practice. I think a lot of people go for counseling, they go for coaching, and once they have gotten the tools, once they have obtained and acquired the information, the knowledge to get unstuck, then they don't practice. And I want to remind you that it took so long, repetitions, to be where you are. So it is going to take a lot of practice, a lot of discipline with your new thoughts now, with your new way of thinking about issues, about forgiveness, about emotional pain, about whatever made you stuck. Now you have to apply that truth, and it has to be a discipline. It has to be something you do every day. It's not just something you get delivered and now you are okay. If you don't practice, then you're gonna start going back to the wrong thinking. You're gonna go back to unforgiveness. You're gonna go back to the to the wrong way of living. And so practice is very important, just as important as the other processes. So I wanted to share with you that IRP method, that the IRP process. It's worked. It's what helped me to get out of being stuck in so many emotional pain and forgiveness, relationship problems I was involved in. That's the process I went through, and that's why I use it to help other people. Identify, reframe, and then practice the new behavior, the new way of thinking. I hope this video helped you, and please subscribe. Let me hear your comments on the video, what you think. If you can help our community, people that are subscribing or are listening to this channel, if you can help also with any other thing that you do to get unstuck, that would be helpful for everybody. So thank you for listening, and talk to you in the next video.